As explained in the previous section, there are 3 phases for the program lifecycle. The first one is the program definition phase. In the program definition phase, there are 2 parts, the program formulation and the program planning. In this lecture, I will walk you through the 10 assessment activities as part of the program formulation. So in program formulation, the high-level scope, risks, costs, and expected benefits of the program are assessed to confirm that the program represents a viable way forward for the organization and it is well aligned with the organization's strategic objectives. So what are the key outcomes of the program formulation supporting activities? We want to identify the high-level scope, the key risks, the initial cost estimate, the expected benefits of the program in order to make a decision if we should proceed with this program or not. And all these supporting activities will aid in the development of the program business case, program charter, and program roadmap. Program activities supporting program formulation are often exploratory in nature, looking at a number of possible alternatives to ensure that one best aligned with strategy and organizational preferences can be identified and approved for inclusion into the program. This is why they are exploratory in nature. We want to explore the program, the current need of the resources, the estimation, the expected benefits in order to support decision-making, executive decision-making in the organization to proceed with this program or not. However, in some cases, program formulation leads to the conclusion that the program does not have a strong business case and the program should be terminated or stopped. So it is normal at the end of the program formulation subphase to make a decision that we should not proceed with this program if the program business case was not clearly showing the justification of why the organization should proceed with this program. The following figure illustrates how program formulation activities contribute to the development of the program business case and program charter through the core activity of the program integration management. So we have 10 supporting activities as part of the program formulation phase. I will walk you through these 10 activities right now with the key output of each of them: program change assessment, communications assessment, initial cost estimate, information management assessment, procurement assessment, quality assessment, resource requirements estimation for the program, initial risk assessment, schedule and scope assessment. These supporting activities will be executed in integration with the program integration management core activity. The outcomes should be the program business case, program charter, and all will be guided by the program governance. The first supporting activity is assessing potential changes in the program through the program change assessment. As part of program formulation, potential change management considerations are identified and assessed to help develop the program business case. The program change assessment will identify potential sources of change which the program might face throughout the delivery, such as the volatility of the enterprise environmental factors where the program is being executed, or the sensitivity of the proposed program's business case to changes in organizational strategy, and the possible frequency and magnitude of changes that may arise from components during the program delivery. These are 3 examples of potential sources of change which you need to assess as part of the program formulation to develop the program business case. After identifying the potential sources of change, it then estimates the likelihood and possible impacts of the changes that could arise from these sources and proposes measures that could be taken to enable the program to respond to such changes in a positive rather than disruptive way. So it's not enough to identify only the sources of potential changes for the program at the current phase. We need also to estimate the likelihood and possible impact if these changes occur or arise throughout the program. The key output of this supporting activity will be the program change assessment that will be an input to the program business case, program charter, and program change management planning. So it's a very important output that will be used as an input for 3 other artifacts. The second supporting activity is the program communications assessment. Program communications management is different from project communications since it affects a wider array of stakeholders with widely varying communication needs. Different communication approaches and methods of delivery are required due to the larger number of stakeholders that is expected at a program level. Communications management is more complex in programs. An initial assessment of the communication needs of the program is a key input to the program charter. So in order to develop the program charter, I need to understand what are the communication needs and requirements in the program. Given the broad scope of a program, a wide range of stakeholders may be involved, and maintaining effective communications with internal and external stakeholders can prevent more serious problems from arising. So it's a critical success factor for program management to maintain effective communications and engagement with the stakeholders. It may be useful as part of the program formulation to survey program stakeholders to identify their expectations for its outcome and their interests in staying informed and involved during its delivery. So there is a very strong link between stakeholders management and engagement and communications requirements and needs identification. So it will be a good idea to survey the identified program stakeholders to know their expectations and communication needs. The key output of this supporting activity will be the program communications assessment. It will be an input to the stakeholder engagement plan, and it will be an input to the program communication management plan. The third supporting activity to determine an initial cost estimate for the program. A critical element of the program's business case is an estimate of its overall cost and an assessment of the level of confidence in this estimate. I cannot develop a program business case without having a figure of what are the expected costs of this program and what is the confidence level in this estimate. So the outcome of this supporting activity will be a very important input to the program business case. An initial cost estimate is prepared in the program definition phase to determine the cost of its planning and delivery. So we will only determine an initial cost estimate at the program formulation subphase. More cost estimation will be conducted, another exercise in the planning and another exercise in the delivery to obtain more accurate estimates. This initial rough order of magnitude estimate allows financial decision makers to decide if the program should be funded or not. So why, as an executive of an organization, I should decide to proceed with a program or not by looking at the program business case? I want to look at the benefits and expected revenue or value and compare it with the initial cost estimate. It will be a rough order of magnitude estimate because there will be a big range or less accuracy in this estimate. Because of the limited information, time and resources available at this phase, it may be difficult to develop a highly detailed or accurate cost estimate. That's normal. Often the numbers will only be accurate to a rough order of magnitude. Given these challenges, it can also be useful to identify the nature and sources of those costs that could not be estimated. So it's normal to have a rough order of magnitude estimate due to the limited information, time and resources at the program formulation phase. The output of this supporting activity will be an initial cost estimation. It will be an input to the program business case document, to the program charter, and for the detailed program cost estimation during the planning subphase. The fourth supporting activity as part of the program formulation subphase is the program information management assessment. A program will likely generate a large amount of documentation, data, and other records throughout its life cycle. Especially if there is a large number of stakeholders, a lot of components, projects, and subsidiary programs, there will be a large amount of information. How easily this information can be collected, shared, and maintained may have a significant effect on both program team efficiency and how the program is perceived by its stakeholders. The information management needs of the program should be considered as part of program formulation so that possible financial, organizational, or resource implications can be assessed. So it's important to determine the needs of our program in terms of information management, as those needs might affect the program financial or organizational or resources needs. The output of this supporting activity will be the Program Information Management Assessment that will be an input to the program business case, program charter, and program information management planning during the program planning subphase. Supporting activity number 5 is the Program Procurement Assessment. An assessment of the procurement needs of a program can be a valuable input to the program charter. So procurement is around getting any services or goods from outside the organization, and this should be assessed at the program formulation subphase in order to develop the program charter. Although procurement policies and practices are typically part of the organizational or environmental factors that exist before the program is authorized, there are cases where the program itself presents unique procurement challenges, and we need to spend a good amount of time and efforts on this supporting activity if we are expecting procurement challenges in our program, or if we are expecting that the majority of the program scope will be executed by vendors. A program procurement assessment should be prepared during program definition when procurement presents special challenges or represents a significant level of effort during program delivery. So we need to focus on this assessment in case there are a lot of procurements or a lot of contracts expected throughout the program delivery, and the outcome will be procurement management assessment that will be an input to the program business case, program charter, and program procurement management planning during the planning subphase. Supporting activity number 6 is the program quality assessment. An assessment of quality constraints, expectations, risks, and controls should be included as part of program formulation. If there are any constraints or assumptions or risks that might impact the program quality level, this should be identified as part of the formulation subphase. Organizational or regulatory quality standards may act as important constraints on program delivery, particularly in the case of a compliance program. So in case of if we have a compliance program, or there are a lot of regulatory agencies in the environment of our program, focus should be given for program quality. Expectations about the quality of program outputs may serve as important inputs to determine program costs and required program infrastructure and resources. The ability of program suppliers to comply with the quality standards may also be an important consideration for the program procurement and for the risk assessments. Finally, the need for program quality reviews or audits may be considered important to enable the program governance. The outcome of this supporting activity will be program quality assessment that will be an input to the program business case, program charter, program quality management planning in the upcoming phase. Program resource requirements assessment. This is a high-level estimation of the resources needs for the program. The resources required to plan and deliver a program include people, office space, laboratories, data centers, or other facilities, equipment of all types, software, vehicles, and office supplies. So we need to consider human, physical, and financial resources in this estimate. An estimate of the required resources, particularly staff and facilities, which may have long lead items or affect ongoing activities of the program, is required to prepare the program business case and should be reflected in the program charter. So it's important to consider this assessment and have a high-level estimation of the required resources in the program, as this will be an important input to develop the program business case and the program charter, and it will highly impact the program initial cost estimation. The output of this supporting activity will be the program resource requirements estimate that will be an input to the program business case, program charter, and program resource management planning. Supporting activity number 8 is the program initial risk assessment. A program risk is an event or series of events or conditions that, if they occur, may affect the success of the program. So this is the definition of a risk. It might be a negative event as a threat or a positive event as an opportunity. Positive risks are often referred to as opportunities and negative risks as threats. These risks arise from the program components and their interactions with each other, from technical complexity, schedule or cost constraints, and with the broader environment in which the program is being managed. So we need to be careful, and as part of this assessment we need to identify potential risks either from the program itself, from the organization, or from the environment, and we need to manage them proactively. Two aspects of risk should be assessed during the program definition phase. The first one is the identification part, an identification of the key risks that the program may encounter and their relative likelihood and impact should be developed as an input to the program business case and to the program charter. So high-level risks identified at the very early phases of the program will be documented as part of the program business case and the program charter. Once these risks are identified, we need to conduct an assessment of the organization's willingness to accept and deal with risks, sometimes referred as the organizational risk appetite. It is very essential in understanding the level of effort that may be required to monitor and assess risks during the program delivery phase. So the program initial risk assessment is around identifying high-level potential risks and conducting an assessment of the organization risk appetite. The output of this supporting activity is the program initial risk assessment that will be an input to the program business case, an input to the program initial cost estimate. Risks might impact the program cost. There will be inputs also to the program charter, to the program roadmap, and to the program risk management planning. Supporting activity number 9 is the program schedule assessment, an assessment of expectations for delivery dates and benefits. Milestones should be part of the program charter, and this input will be generated as an outcome of the program schedule assessment. This initial assessment should also state the level of confidence in the assessment of activity durations and identify where alternative activities could be initiated if activities run into excessive delays. So it is similar to the resource estimation or the cost estimation. We need to identify the duration of the program, the delivery dates, and the key milestones dates in order to document them as part of the program charter. The output will be a program schedule assessment that will be an input to the program business case, program charter, and definitely to the program roadmap, which is a high-level timeline. Also, this assessment will be an input to the program schedule management planning. The last supporting activity as part of the formulation subphase is the program scope assessment. Program scope defines the work required to deliver a benefit, either a major product, service, or result with specified features and functions at the program level. Program scope management is the activities that will help the program manager define, develop, monitor, control, and verify the program scope. So it's about thinking in advance how we are going to deal with the program scope. Scope management aligns the program scope with the program's goals and objectives, and it includes work decomposition into deliverable component products designed in order to deliver the associated benefits. An assessment of the program scope that includes the boundaries, links to other programs or projects within the organization, and any ongoing operational activities is required as part of the program charter and in order to support the initial cost, change, resource, risk, and schedule assessments. I cannot determine the initial cost estimate for the program without knowing what is the scope. The initial program scope assessment develops the program scope statement from the program goals and objectives. This is the very key output of this supporting activity, the program scope assessment, and you should expect like 2 or 3 questions around it in the exam. This input to the program charter can be obtained from the program sponsor or stakeholders through the portfolio management or stakeholder alignment activities. The key output will be the program scope assessment that will be an input to the program charter. So these are the 10 supporting activities of the program formulation sub-phase. The majority of them were only conducting a high-level or initial assessment for the different program activities. More planning and more efforts will be conducted in the upcoming supporting activities phases.